Hello, what is up? This is alertwolf here to bring you another video. And this is a character discussion or breakdown on a character discussion on Sasuke. Obviously from Naruto. Now, basically, what I'm going to get into here is just the breakdown of Sasuke, basically, as a character, his motivations, his character growth, and where he is right now. You know, and it's funny, I meant to put this video out a little while ago, but I couldn't due to, you know, the issues with my channel. My channel hadn't been completely restored yet. And it's a good thing that I waited, because although one of my predictions would have been correct, it's good to know that that it is what it is, and I can talk about it. I mean, this week, basically, due to the chapter that came out today or last night, we are better prepared to get into the character of Sasuke, and that's because of the transactions of what happened. But you know, let me just get right into that. All right, so Sasuke's motivations, and this is important because his motivations is actually, you know, his core. You know, the core of his characters is his reason for being, and that's why, you know, when he lost that, things went awry. But yeah, let me just get into it. So he starts out, and Sasuke starts out as a child, right? And his early childhood, he was in the shadow of his big brother, who he loved, and people were always comparing them, and he had his family and his people. But then the incidents that occurred, and we all know the story, where his brother was then blamed for the annihilation, and because he saw him kill his parents, of his entire clan. So then from that point on, he became fixated on getting strong enough to take revenge on his brother. Now, this was fueled by his brother, but this was his motivations in the beginnings of Naruto. And we see this all throughout. Although he has no intention of making friends, he ends up making friends with the people in his team and everybody else. And Naruto both becomes his best friend and his greatest rival. Now, and he believes that the village can make him strong enough to fight his brother. And then he comes to the realization that Naruto's getting stronger, but he's not as strong as he should be. When his brother was interested in capturing Naruto, obviously, and beat him and broke his arm like he was nothing, even after he had learned the Chidori. And he says your hate isn't strong enough, and so on and so forth. But that was a turning point in his character, because he agreed with his brother and took his brother's advice to heart, and he really did believe that. Now, as we recall with the curse mark and Orochimaru, did say you're going to want to become stronger, and when that time comes, you'll come to me. And so he had another option of becoming stronger. Now this is when he decides to break ties with everybody in the village. Not only that, but his brother said to get stronger eyes, you know, he would have to kill his best friend, meaning Naruto. So they have that big battle, you know, and we all remember how that was. It was epic, classic. But really, he cut his ties with the Leaf and focused on getting strong for strength's sake, so he could get revenge on his brother. Sasuke is very goal oriented, and the ends justify the means in his head. And the ends is defeating his brother, and the means became Orochimaru. And so that's what we get after the time jump in Shippuden. He defeats, he's not going to be swallowed and taken by Orochimaru. And he ends up defeating him. And then, with the fight with and he forms his own team to get revenge, and with the fight against his brother, he finds out the truth. Or just after it. First, he finds out his brother always cared about him. And he kills his brother, and he's left empty and directionless and confused. And this is when Toby, aka Madara at the time, comes in and tells him the truth of what happened. Now, that's when he gets a new focus for his rage, and that is the Leaf Village. Because the Leaf Village is the one who sanctioned the destruction of his people and branded his brother a traitor. And in essence, he blames them for him killing his brother, because had he known, he wouldn't have done it. And his life would have been different. So there's that rage. What always bothered me, though, is that he decided to side with the Madara character, even though he didn't know it was Obito. But it doesn't matter, because his original motivations for getting revenge was getting revenge against the people who went after his clan. And this motivated him to then go after the Leaf. Specifically, Danzo. But what I find is slightly ridiculous here is he joins up with Toby, and Toby admitted that he was the partner in crime who crushed, because he has a Sharingan too, who crushed his clan. So it always was weird to me that he decided to join with him, and instead of try to destroy him, because he was an enemy too. But I guess maybe he used him to gain his brother's eyes and to gain the eternal. Now, this is where Sasuke's character starts to get even darker. He basically, after siding with them, you see him go after B and whatnot, and that keeps going. Eventually, he goes after Danzo and the 5 Kage Summit meeting. And this is important because in his quest for power, he leaves his comrades, his subordinates behind, people in his team that he handpicked, and he leaves them behind. He takes Karen with him, and he ends up tracking down Danzo. Now, it's clear that, especially from what Sasuke learns, and when he fights Danzo, so it's clear that Danzo is the one who set up the murder of the Uchihas. And he did it for personal gain as well as the gain of village, because how many Sharingans did he have on his arm? And it was done by, that part was helped out by Orochimaru. So you would think. And then we saw him, basically throw Karen away and try to kill her. Not give a shit about her. Going head to head with Naruto there for a second before Toby got him out of there. You would think, what's his reasoning for wanting to destroy the Leaf now? And I think he said his reasoning is because they're all happy and I'm miserable. At one point, he said this. Basically. That's a crappy reason to still be pissed. Seriously, think about it. It's a shitty reason. Because here's the thing, and this is what always bothered me. Listen, the people responsible for the death of the Uchiha clan were his brother, Obito, or Toby at that time, right? Or actually he was known as Madara, but whatever. You know? And then it was Danzo. And even if the third kind of knew but didn't know, you know, and played stupid on it, the third, right? Maybe the elders, but again, they just gave advice. They weren't really, you know, in charge. So let's go back now. The third is dead, right? And the third always treated him right, so I'm not sure if he was ever really pissed at the third. But the third is dead, right? He died in sacrifice to the village, and he's been dead. Danzo, he just killed, right? One of the masterminds. His brother is dead as well. Now, he regrets killing his brother because of said reasons, and he's no longer mad at his brother. But then his brother's gone. So theoretically, his rage should have then turned onto Obito, but he didn't. And not that he ever fully trusted him, because he didn't, but it should have gone where I'm gonna kill this dude to avenge my clan. Technically, he was the last guy responsible, and he just did it because he had problems with the Uchiha, he said. So I never understood, well, they're happy and I'm not, as a reason why I'm gonna destroy the village. Like, once he got revenge on those responsible, and it was like, well, you know, because their happiness was bought at the sacrifice of my clan, so I'm gonna kill these guys. Well, who are these guys to you? Oh, they were my friends and they've always treated me well. Again, his motivation for staying in the rage never fully made sense after the death of Danzo. And that's where I think people have gotten it, like, confused as far as his character goes. Because I think people thought he was just going to stay angry and stay evil. But with such a flimsy reason to hold on to said evil and stay in the darkness, it really was flimsy. I mean, there's no other way I can put it. Think about his reason why he's still pissed off. It didn't really make sense, did it? Like, oh, I'm gonna get revenge. None of those people are in charge anymore. And again, maybe he could go after the elders of the village, but they're fucking old. They're gonna die soon anyway. I mean, like, they don't even matter. You know what I mean? You know, and the village had already been destroyed before he got there, so it was like, he's late to that punch too. So then, at this point, it was just stubbornness, you know? And then, during the Edo Tensei, we saw him, like, murking dudes and being ruthless, and we thought he was gonna stay dark, and then he ran into his brother. And people were upset that he went from super dark Sasuke to Nissan and all of that, right? But it kind of made sense. And see, that's the thing. I think people were thinking, oh, he's regressing. He's not regressing. The thing is, he's not a one-dimensional character. And yes, he went down the road of darkness of revenge, but he pretty much already got his revenge. And that's my whole point. Like, he really didn't... His reason for being angry was flimsy. The fact that he got to interact with his brother and have the closure he didn't really have when he killed his brother the last time. And that's what this was about. It was about closure. And that time with his brother didn't necessarily pull him out of the darkness, but so much that it just revealed what is, you know, his reason for staying in the darkness was flimsy. So really, it didn't require much to pull him out. And being with his brother gave him the closure to his brother and allowed him to further understand his brother's dream of protecting the village. And that's why when Orochimaru came back and they went and visited to bring the people who know everything, the Kages, and hearing about the birth of the village and what was the true goal. You see, because he wanted to understand what was Madara's reason for rebelling against this and his brother's reason for protecting this at all costs. You see, he didn't understand which side of the fence was right. And after hearing everything about the history and about how things are, he ended up siding with his brother's dream. And then in this last chapter, when you know what, I'll give you a chapter name too. What was it? Chapter 631. At the end, you know, he shows up with the Kages to save the day. And what does he show up there to do? But he says he wants to become Hokage. Now, this sets up a further conflict with Naruto, because Naruto's like, I'm going to become Hokage. And this is the thing that, had I done the video earlier, I'd have predicted that this would have been the reason. But I'm kind of glad now that I waited, or, you know, or situation forced me to wait. Just because it's better this way. Basically, you know, and there it is. Their conflict is there will be a battle for Hokage. You know, they're destined to fight it out to see who wins. And I doubt it'll be a death battle, and it will be like a friendly, not friendly, but it will be like an epic battle. Now, let me add this to it. The fact that the first acknowledged both of them as candidates to be Hokage is a big deal in legitimizing Sasuke, because everybody's still slightly pissed at him. The fact that the first didn't even care. It was like, oh yeah, he could totally be Hokage. That's pretty good. And it makes sense, you know, and here's, and because I know some people are like, oh, you know, how can they justify that? Now, to get into Sasuke's character, it always made sense for me that he was going to join Naruto in this war. As a matter of fact, it makes perfect sense. So much so that I think he was having trouble figuring out how to like get him to that point, because honestly, Obito is the last person left, and hell, I don't even think Sasuke's aware that Obito and Madara are two different dudes at this point. Like, does he even know that? Didn't he think Obito was Madara? And there's Madara right there. So there you go. Like, the motivation to kill Madara is so clear. The fact that he thinks Madara is responsible, you know? And it always made sense. Like, I thought he was gonna rejoin Naruto the entire time. Now, let's go from, again, a character perspective here. Now, some people think this is a negative character growth for him, that they wanted him to still be the villain. And maybe they could do that with, maybe he tries to conquer the leaf to become the next Hokage, but I doubt that's where they're going with it, because he said, I'm going to become the next Hokage. And usually that's a piece that you know, people promote you to that, you know. So I don't think that that's where they're going. Now if you ask me, this character, remember he said he's an Avenger and all this. This isn't what I would call negative character growth. It's actually positive character growth, because he didn't need the crutch of Naruto to pull him out of the darkness. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, it was done on his own, you know? It was done because of the things with his brother, And the real reason for the war. Now, this is what Kishimoto really wanted to do with Sasuke, was to bring him back in such a way that it made sense. Now, some people are like, well, he's the same Sasuke then. He's reverted back to like pre-time skip, even going to Orochimaru like Sasuke, and he really hasn't. He's not that guy. You know, he really isn't. He's not that guy. He didn't go down that route. He's grown from it and come back through the other side of the tunnel is what it is. He went into the tunnel and he came out, and now he's a full-fledged, fully rounded character, in my opinion. He has depth to him, you know? Whereas before, he wasn't straight bad, he wasn't straight good, he was confused, and I think ever since he killed Danzo, he's been directionless. That is my thing. Like, he's like, I'm gonna get revenge on the Leaf, but he really didn't have a direction, you know? Because at the end of the day, his rage, his anger, his malicious intent had no more solid foundation, you know? It became petty and jealousy and like, oh, my brother sacrificed for your happiness and you guys were happy, and I can't know that happiness, was a dumb, horrible reason to stay dark. You know what I mean? Other than, well, I'm bad now and I guess this is how I am. But he was always a deeper character. He was always goal orientated, and achieving those goals was always his means. And really, the goal of destroying the Leaf, it was done before it had already happened. So he didn't, you know what I mean? He didn't need that goal. And that goal's foundation was based on flimsy shit. It was just flimsy. It really wasn't there. It was just flimsy. I mean, because he basically succeeded. He killed Danzo. Danzo was the person who ordered it and who profited from it directly with the eyes. So from a character standpoint, he's been through things and he's come out the other side. And we'll see where he goes from here. But he went from he's almost the anti-hero at this point. He's the dark hero, and that's who he is. Now, again, people wanted to see him go super villain and stay there, you know. But even while he was at his most villainous, it was all about achieving his goals, and getting his revenge. And he's already avenged and gotten his revenge. So now the only one left to feel his wrath is Madara, is Obito, is those guys. And that's who he's focused on. And then the fact that he's not even, and that makes sense. And that he sided with his brother's dream and the first Hokage's dream, and to make sure things never happen again. So, and that's another part of his motivation. I mean, look at his story. His story was a tragedy, you know? He killed his brother because he didn't know the truth. Then he found out the truth after his brother died, and it still wasn't the whole truth. And that made him do terrible things. And so he was right. He never really did get that happiness that he should have had. But that's because he threw it away to achieve his goals. And the fact that he didn't want to see this ever happen again, this goes back to Toshirama's original and Madara's original reason for forming the Leaf Village in the first place. And that makes sense. And that's where he's at. He's in line with the original dream not because Nakama and friendship power wins. It's to prevent tragedies like his own from unfolding again. And that's why he wants to protect the village. That's why he wants to lead the village. And it all fits with who he is and who he's become. Now, this is just my quick assessment on Sasuke. You may disagree. You may not. You may have your own opinions, and I'd love to hear it. But again, this is just my quick assessments on Sasuke and where his character's going. And it's not a surprise to me. I saw it coming. It only makes sense. It really does. And when you think about it from that perspective, and you don't like, if I mean, come on, there's a part of me that just wanted him to stay the evil villain. But think about it. How is Naruto going to achieve his goal of, turning him good, beating the crap out of him, dying maybe, so that Sasuke would finally snap out of it? That never really made sense to me. It didn't. That part never made sense to me. This makes sense, and this fits. So, I mean, I've gone on too long, but that's enough out of me. So, click it up if you like it, comment if you must, and please, please, please subscribe if you can. And this is your buddy alertwolf signing out.